Welcome, whoever you are, to Meg's Magical Mansion, a virtual guest house for spiritual wayfarers. A place where the ordinary becomes magical, where wisdom is yours for the asking, and where your higher nature is just a wish away. Thank you so much for joining us here today at Meg's Magical Mansion. I'm Meg, and this is my faithful butler, Scallion. Thank you, Scallion. And in my lap is my beautiful and fluffy assistant, Miss Alice Poopers. And today, I'm going to be telling you the story about why I'm quitting teaching. Startling. I know. Okay. Well, I still can't figure out where that comes from. But I guess that means it's time for words of wisdom. And today, our words of wisdom come from the Nobel Prize-winning author of such classics as Steppenwolf and Siddhartha, Hermann Hesse. And the quote is, "Some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it is letting go." Shall we meditate on that, Poops? Yes, I think we shall.
You can just let go. You don't have to hold on anymore. Just let go. Let it float away because you don't need it anymore. Just let go.
And this tea's pretty nice. Lavender. What else you put in there?
Rose petals and that I washed, and lemon juice and lemon zest. Because the oils and the lemon zest,
Right, are different.
yeah. Did you know the oil and lemon zest is flammable?
No.
It's freaky.
Yes, I gotta do this. Here we go. So today I'm going to be talking to you about why I am choosing to quit the teaching profession. I want to give you a little background. I started teaching in 1991. That was 30 years ago. So technically I am retiring. I have worked for the same school district for 30 years. But I could work another 6 years, including a deferred retirement option where I would be making quite a bit of money. But I'm choosing not to do that. I must be crazy. I've worked my whole career to get to this point. But all of a sudden, I'm just walking out the door. Why would I do that? Well, let's look back at when I started teaching. When I started teaching back in 1991, I wasn't the youngest one out there either. I was 30 when I started teaching because I spent all of my 20s in New York City having a punk rock band. But then by age 30, I had settled down. When I started teaching, I had just had my first child, married, buying a house, and I was very, very, very passionate and excited about becoming a teacher. I felt I had found the perfect career where my love of music, arts, certainly reading and books, all of these things were coming together in this perfect storm of the perfect use of all of my love, passion, and creativity, and this desire to help others. It all came together in this perfect package, and it was teaching. And when I started teaching, being creative, being musical, being artistic in elementary education, these were assets. I also have really spent a lot of my teaching career working in Title I schools. If you are not aware of what a Title I school is, it is a school that receives a substantial amount of money from the federal government, and these schools serve low socioeconomic areas. And many of the students there are very underperforming. Attendance is a problem. Attitude is a problem. Some of our children grow up in homes where they're just exposed to things that personally I wouldn't want to be exposed to, and I'm a 60-year-old lady. So I understand this is a difficult job that we do in Title I schools. And I would say I've spent a substantial amount, not all of my career, but a large chunk of it, I have spent working with these Title I students. And for a while I worked in one of the lowest performing schools in my district, which was on state turnaround. I mean, I have done some very, very interesting work over my career. But what I have noticed, especially in my Title I schools, is that you're not allowed to bring the joy anymore. It's now considered unnecessary for me to be artistic or creative in the classroom because I don't teach art or music. I teach a general ed grade level. So I'm not supposed to be having fun. It's bell-to-bell instruction. I'm not supposed to be creative. I'm supposed to be on page 52 on this day. This is the curriculum. But at the same time, I'm still supposed to remediate everybody, bring everyone up to snuff. And if you would just let me do it. And by the way, I want to make a full just say right now, my personal administrator I am working for right now is amazing. She is a human dynamo. I don't even know how she does the job that she does. I'm in awe of her. I'm seriously in awe of this woman. I don't know how she does it. So it's not my immediate supervision or administration that's the problem for me. For me, it goes way, way, way beyond that. When I can have a really good on-site administrator and still be unhappy with what's going on or be very concerned about what I see going on. I mean, we could talk about a lot of things that you and people in education know about, Common Core, testing, all of this. You know none of these things. If you know me, you know none of that stuff is me. And when I'm not allowed to even get my kids to pass standardized testings with fun and creativity, to get them to relax and do well, and by the way, I have a very, very high pass rate on state testing. My kids do very well. And some of you out there who are my former students know I've helped you. And some of you out there who have had your kids in my class or former parents, you also know that. It's just because you're good at something doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. I'm just not a big fan, as you could probably guess, of the standardized testing and high stakes testing. Not a big fan of bell-to-bell instruction. Not a big fan of, I really want to know this, and I want someone to try to explain to me why we are not allowed to have time in our schedule for social studies in Title I elementary schools. They are not taught social studies. Our kids don't get it ever. We have curriculum for it, but it is not on our schedule. So you tell me when I'm supposed to teach them that they have rights in America as citizens. Well, they just need to learn reading. They're reading and math. They're so far behind. They're so far behind. They're so far behind. Yeah, we could read about social studies. Come on. Why is that taken out of the curriculum? And maybe I'm just, conspiracy theory lady, but you know what I'm going to say? People who don't know what their rights are, people who don't understand how their government works, it's very easy to take their rights away from them. And I'm concerned that our kids do not understand what a democracy is and what a republic is, and the fact that they live in a democratic republic. All you social studies teachers out there love me for knowing that. I think denying those children social studies education, understanding the principles upon which our government is founded, understanding the Constitution, understanding the Declaration of Independence, understanding, going back to the Constitution, that super important Bill of Rights, those First Amendments, and what they mean. It's a big concern for me that we do not teach our lowest socioeconomic kids social studies. We don't teach them how the American government works. Another thing that I just find very concerning is the idea that there's very little enrichment for these kids. I've worked in one Title I school that had an arts magnet where these kids got dance and drama and music and theater production and film production and news crew and free after school enrichment classes. I'm not kidding you, fine arts, everything. And you know what happened to that school? They outgrew their Title I status and turned to a charter school. Boom! You guys, hello out there, you know who you are. My friends over there. See? This is what happens. But we need that for kids now. These kids in Title I need enrichment. They need music, art, drama, filmmaking, tech. I think it is very, very critical that we allow these children in some of the most impoverished neighborhoods in our country the opportunity to have a dream, a big dream. But when I look at my kids in my school, my Title I school, and I look at them, it's very hard to say, oh, anybody can grow up to be president. Because, I'm sorry, they're not getting a presidential education. And I can't participate in that because they deserve one. They should have all of this. The arts, the enrichment, the thrill of loving school. When I started in 1991, a big catchphrase back then was, childhood should be a journey, not a race. I don't hear people say that one anymore. I hear bell-to-bell instruction. I hear they're so far behind that I have to start from the minute they walk in the door, pounding them with instruction. I am not allowed to entice them. I'm not allowed to do an art project or a song or any creative things. I once had a former administrator, principal, tell me that perhaps my classroom was, to quote her exact words, too cute. And that our kids couldn't handle so much stimulation because it's too cute for them. Not allowed to have parties, by the way. Nope. Not allowed to have parties, not allowed to celebrate. Bell-to-bell instruction. And you know what this makes me feel like? A robot. I feel like a robot.
And then I'm given programs because I'm a robot, so they program me.
They program me by giving me programs. And I will say my district is a big fan of programs. They're a bigger fan of programs than they are of actually prescripting for children what they most need to help them grow and develop. They think a program, a one-size-fits-all program, I'll just put a new program in place. We'll just get a new reading program. We'll have a new program. We'll have this program, and you have to have fidelity to the program, which means don't use your experience or creativity. You have to follow a scripted text. Which means that you're taking all my 30 years I've spent learning how to teach kids, and you're making me teach dumb, like I'm a beginning teacher who doesn't know how to teach them and might really need that script. I'm not saying it's bad to have a scripted text, but understand not every teacher needs to verbatim follow your scripts. Because I probably know as much as the people that wrote your book, and maybe sometimes more. So all of these things combined, feeling like I'm just hammering children, not lifting them up, not enlightening them, hammering them. Like you just want me to open up their head and pour it in. Remember that old picture of the And that was when I started teaching. The model you did not want is the exact model I'm in. Take a scripted program, shove open up their head, dump the program in. Then 3 or 5 years down the road, when the kids are not making any progress and your scores are still low and the kids are still struggling, you just try a different program because it must be the program. How about this? I got a newsflash for everybody. Most of the teachers I know personally, which is thousands, have gone to school for years. Most all of them have master's degrees. In any other field, if you have a master's degree, people do not come in and give you a scripted thing on how to do your job. You are trusted as a professional. This is very offensive to me. That people who have advanced degrees, national board certifications, bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, endorsements on their certificates, all of these things, and you still don't think they can do their job, and they are still given these highly scripted scenario texts to work through. When I started teaching, we were given resources. We were given the things they were supposed to learn on cards called exit skill cards. And we taught them. I did amazing and fun things, like I turned my classroom into a dinosaur museum. That was so fun. We wrote a play in first grade about George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and performed it. These are things that we used to do, and we used to do them with our Title I children. And we excited them about learning, and we gave them a love of learning. Because you can pound a kid all day to read it, you can get their reading level to grow, but you could also make them hate reading. And maybe they might be pretty good at it, but that doesn't mean they're going to want to go and pick up a book. And I might have a kid that might not read quite that well, but he's going to want to read books, and by the time they start wanting to read, they're going to pick up books and read, and they're going to end up leaving that other kid in the dust and be a way better reader. Because kids that want to read are always a better reader and get more out of it. So I'm very discouraged that our system is failing kids. It's failing teachers. It's failing administrators. We're not doing anything good to help these Title I children. This whole concept of bell-to-bell instruction, they're so far behind that we have to hammer them nonstop to catch them up, is wrong. And it's not working. And frankly, I think that we're just putting these schools in place to grow service economy workers. And I'm sorry if anybody disagrees with that, feel free. These are just my opinions. But my feeling, having worked in these trenches, is that we don't want them to dream too much. We don't want them to think too big, because we need them to work at our big box stores. And we need them to mow lawns. And we need them to do all kinds of menial jobs that people don't think they want to do themselves. And I don't think that's right. I think every child deserves a chance to dream and think big and be president of the United States or whatever they want to be. Be an astronaut, be an astrophysicist, be a brain surgeon, anything. But if you don't show them those possibilities, they won't even know they exist. If all they're allowed to have is reading and math, bell-to-bell instruction, you tell me how they're going to grow big dreams. So, you want to know why I'm quitting? I feel tired of opening the kids' heads up and pouring in the stuff and closing their heads and thinking that's teaching. That's not how I started teaching. And that's not how I'm going to continue teaching. And I realize maybe by just quitting and taking my little tiny platform here and saying how I feel might be more helpful. But I just know I feel like if I continue to do that job, I'm just a part of the problem and I'm not part of the solution. And I used to feel like part of the solution, not anymore. I just want to tell all of you that I have not had a script or a piece of paper in front of me today. Today, I am strictly talking to you from my heart. So I'm sorry if it got long and rambly, I love all of you who have known me as a professional educator, and I want you to know that I've appreciated my 30 years. All those of you who watch who are former students, and I know several of you are, and those of you who watch who are parents have had your kids in my class, and I know you're there, and my fellow co-workers over the years, I know some of you also watch. I want to tell all of you that I love you, and I enjoyed every minute with you. I'm gonna cry. Yes, she always cries. She always cries, but I love you, and I'm ready for my next chapter, a big part of which will be Meg's Magical Mansion. Thank you so much for a fantastic ride, for a wonderful career. What a blessing. And I have chosen to go out now on a high note rather than stay and become a curmudgeon. I don't do curmudgeon well. And that's why I'm quitting teaching.
Congratulations on your new life.
Well, thank you, Scallion.
I made you a champagne cocktail.
It's my favorite. Yay.
Today, in celebration of Meg's retirement, we're making classic champagne cocktails. Use a dry, sparkling wine, champagne, cava, prosecco. Just make sure that it's extra dry or brut. A sugar cube in each flute. A dash of bitters, 1 or 2 drops. I caress the rim of the glass with the essence of the lemon. And now I'm going to surprise Meg.
Well, I want to thank everyone for being here today and listening to my story about why I'm quitting teaching. But at least now I have a lot more time to spend here around the mansion, having fun with Parfait and Scallion and you. So please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, ring the bell, and I'm still in my nightgown. I never got dressed today. Hey, I guess when you don't have a job, you don't have to get dressed. Here we go, Scallion. Here's to the new life. See you next week.